Welcome to Fearless Finances, where I try to take the fear out of your finances. This last week, one of my subscribers and fellow YouTubers sent me this question. Now, when she used the word diversifying your income, I wasn't quite sure if it was pre-retirement or in retirement. Once we qualified that, we determined that her and I are both in the same boat. She's a few years before retirement, as am I, and she wanted to know what I might recommend to get some additional income before retirement. Now, even though both her and I are somewhere in our 50s, this doesn't mean that these same ideas aren't good for anyone of any age. I essentially gave her 3 ideas, and I'm going to share them with you. So I'll meet you on the other side. Point number one, and this is going to seem kind of crazy or corny, but do what brings you joy. If there's something you've always wanted to try, get out there and try it. For example, both her and I are starting new YouTube channels. I never really thought I'd like to do this, but it turns out I really like to do this. And you know what? It seems like she does too. So if there's something that you've always thought you might want to try, do it. Putting yourself out there as a dog walker. Maybe you love some little pets. I have a friend who just started that. I have another friend who signed up for this nanny app, and she does some babysitting every once in a while. There you go. I actually make a really mean pasta sauce, and I thought about starting a business canning it because I call it good gravy, which sometimes I just even say good gravy, like somebody would say good grief. So I know point number one is a little bit corny, but do something that brings you joy. And this ties in with the other thing that I said to her. The plan is already in her. It just takes checking out a few things to see what's going to work. Sometimes this involves talking to people, like she asked me the question. Maybe it's friends and family. Maybe as she's checking other things out, she finds that somebody has a job opening that's perfect for her. Whatever it is, think about the things that bring you joy and try to find something that you can earn money doing it, which actually brings me to the second point. Sometimes we think about earning money, but maybe what we need to do is consider saving money. For example, I just mentioned my good gravy, my pasta sauce. That is pretty darn good. But I also took to growing a garden, a huge garden. And I would can vegetables, I'd freeze some of them. I had so much food, it would last me all through the winter. And normally by the next growing season, or I should say the next harvest, I was having to give stuff away to make room for the next batch. And to make sure that this was as economical as possible, I grew everything from seeds. It doesn't really make sense, not good sense anyway, to go to a nursery and pay $3 to $5 for a pepper plant that you might get 3 to 5 peppers off of. Heck, you might as well just go to the grocery store and buy a pepper at that rate. But if you plant it by the seed, that's a whole different story. For a while, I was even doing videos on that I never did publish because it turns out you, even if you're in a colder climate, can keep those pepper plants indoors throughout the winter and then plant a full grown plant in the spring, saving so much time. So that's the other thing. I learned so much in that project. So maybe your project is a little bit different. Maybe you're really good at auto mechanics. So now you start doing your own oil changes or auto repairs, or maybe you like thrifting and you're good at sewing. So you can repurpose a number of clothes by simply putting different outfits together and actually attaching them and sewing. I've seen such creative outfits that way. And honestly, this whole saving money is why I'm down here in Mexico. I live a few blocks from the Pacific Ocean. Look at this view. And I pay $900 a month in rent. I'm going to start doing a whole video series on my money saving, or I should say money making move to Mexico. So if you've got questions about what it's like here in Mexico or how I decided to do it, jot it down in the comments and I'll make sure I'll do a video specific to that because I'm going to do a whole series. Like if you need to know the language and how do you find a place to rent? How did you select the city that you're in? All sorts of things, which brings me to the third point related about this, which also brings me to the title of my channel, Fearless. You might have some crazy idea, or at least you're telling yourself it's crazy. Like, that'll never work. That's too much. Yeah, that brings me joy, but all of those. When I told people I was moving to Mexico, or sometimes even when I tell them I live in Mexico, people might respond, I could never do that. Oh, no, 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 no. Please, 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 please never tell yourself that. You can do anything you put your mind to. There is no need to be afraid or talk yourself out of it. Now, I will say, not every idea is a good idea. So we got to be prudent when we're making these plans and we have to think about what we're going to do. But if the doors seem to open, then go on through. And to illustrate this being fearless, I want to show you a little video clip that I absolutely love about starting a movement. Because after all, your choices about finding new income or more pennies in your budget is really starting a movement toward a different budget and a new lifestyle.
So let's watch a movement happen, start to finish, in under 3 minutes and dissect some lessons from it. First, of course, you know, a leader needs the guts to stand out and be ridiculed.
Now, for our purposes, we just want to think about having the guts to get out there and do whatever we think is going to bring in the money or save us the money, whatever that thing is that we think will bring us joy and some measure of fulfillment. Because generally speaking, things that bring us joy are things that help the universe in some way, and the universe will reward us. Back to the video.
But what he's doing is so easy to follow. So here's his first follower with a crucial role. He's going to show everyone else how to follow.
Ooh, another very important lesson. When we're doing stuff that brings us joy, people come on board. They help us out. And by the way, this lovely follower, this person who's also going to show people how to dance, might also offer a good word of advice or a helping hand.
Now notice that the leader embraces him as an equal. So now it's not about the leader anymore, it's about them, plural. Now there he is calling to his friends. Now if you notice that the first follower is actually an underestimated form of leadership in itself. It takes guts to stand out like that.
And I think that's a good point to interject on too. You might not be the bravest of the brave. And the reality is not all of us can be leaders. It doesn't work well that way anyway. We'd all just be running around bumping into each other, trying to lead our own train and getting in each other's way. That doesn't work very well. So maybe there's somebody already out there doing something that intrigues you that you can hop on board with or that you can assist. That's a great way to go too. But let's get back to our video.
The first follower is what transforms a lone nut into a leader. And here comes a second follower. Now it's not a lone nut, it's not two nuts, 3 is a crowd, and a crowd is news. So a movement must be public. It's important to show not just the leader, but the followers, because you find that new followers emulate the followers, not the leader. Now here come 2 more people, and immediately after, 3 more people. Now we've got momentum. This is the tipping point. Now we've got a movement.
To keep in mind this, when we're on the right track, we might not start a movement just like this with a bunch of people dancing around. But we know we're on the right track because doors are opening and things are going our way. And things are working the way that they should. So watch what's going on around you and what the momentum is, because then you'll know you're going in the right direction.
So Notice that as more people join in, it's less risky. So those that were sitting on the fence before now have no reason not to. They won't stand out, they won't be ridiculed, but they will be part of the in crowd if they hurry. So over the next minute, you'll see all of the those that prefer to stick with the crowd, because eventually they would be ridiculed for not joining in. And that's how you make a movement. So as we're told that we should all be leaders, that would be really ineffective. If you really care about starting a movement, have the courage to follow and show others how to follow. And when you find a lone nut doing something great, have the guts to be the first one to stand up and join in.
And there you go. Now, I got to tell you, there's lots of ideas here on YouTube of ways that you can make a few bucks. In fact, since I've been doing a lot of YouTube research about editing my book and self-publishing and that sort of thing, as I understand it, some people just type an idea into AI and it creates a book for you that you publish on Amazon or wherever. Sometimes people are doing just little puzzle books or coloring books, and they're making a lot of money doing this. These are all avenues to bring in a few bucks. But I'm not going to go through all of those ideas, because I got to tell you, I think somewhere in you, you already knew the idea. You already know what you'd like to do. So I want to offer you the encouragement to get out there and do what you like. And if you've got any questions specific to this that I can help illuminate, or if you're thinking about an idea that we can walk through together, I'd love to help you out. Jot it in the comment below. I will put this full TED Talk in the description inside the doobly-doo. And regarding these saving ideas, I did a video not that long ago that I'll publish right there above me. And the other side has some other financial planning tips for you. And I'll see you there.